Hi there, this is Ron Myers and I'm one of the directors of the consulting room, and it's my pleasure today to introduce Alan Adams, top clinic coach. I've known Alan for a few years now, and we've worked together on some sort of different projects as well and spoken at various events. Alan's an author, and he also specialises as a coach as well in the aesthetic cosmetic arena. So hi Alan, it's good to meet you again.
Yeah, hi Ron. Yeah, yes, glad to come along. Thanks for asking.
Good. So today what we wanted to do was to really kind of talk about the subject of content marketing, because it's something that I think Alan's quite passionate about, and obviously I am as well around content with what we've done with the consulting room, because there's about 500,000 pages of content in there, so I'm quite into that kind of subject. So I think Alan, really, I know that you obviously coach a lot of people around content and creation of content, so could you just really talk a little bit about how you work with your clients around content marketing, the kind of stuff that you get them to do?
I mean, the main thing is just think of any questions you've ever been asked and answer those questions. Because if you've been asked it, I can absolutely guarantee there are people out there who are looking for those answers. So if you could be the person giving them the answers, then you're starting to build a relationship. And because obviously I've also done Robert Cialdini's Power of Persuasion workshops and stuff, and everything starts with the relationship, and reciprocity. You giving somebody something is a brilliant way of starting. If you're giving advice and guidance, it is one of the best ways just to start on that relationship route, because expect the trust in the relationship before anything else within business.
Brilliant. And obviously there's various different forms of content from books, and I know you're an author as well. So, take me through that process, because very few, I think, aesthetic practitioners actually really get down to writing a book, even though I'm sure all of them probably could. So just take me through the process, because a lot of people think it's really difficult, but I think you kind of say that it can actually be simpler than you think.
Yeah, I mean, right. With my clients, I would say, look, if you're creating content, you may as well turn it into a book. Or write the book and then use that as your content.
Yeah.
So think about who your target market is, your avatar. So that should give you the title for the book. So normally you can have like a bit of an ambiguous title, but if you're targeting women over 40, then you have the ambiguous title for women over 40. If you want to look 10 years younger or whatever the book is. Think about chapter titles. So come up with 10 chapter titles, and then come up with like 6 bullet points per chapter. And so you've got 60 bullet points. And each day, pick a bullet point, write a page, and you should have, you'll never get writer's block because you can pick any bullet point you want, and then just sort of get the hard bits, but get it to sort of flow. So you might need some external help for that. And then Bob's your uncle. 30,000 words is a nice size book. People can easily pick up. What you don't want is War and Peace. It just puts people off. So, sort of 40,000 words, it's not that hard. You can even speak it. I was talking, I mentioned to you before about, because video content's obviously crucial these days. And I know somebody who they've been putting off doing the video content for ages. And all in the end, they said, right, sorry. And they went in on a Sunday and they just spoke at the camera for the version for the full day. They got it transcribed, because you always need captions for your video. And they had 40,000 words. That was a book. All they needed to do was to edit the transcribe. Yeah.
I must admit that's relatively easy to do and quite cost effective. When I've been doing these sort of webinars as well, I normally do get them transcribed as well. And I mean, it comes back the next day. It's really quick and very cost effective.
Yeah, I mean, Rev.com, it's $1.25 a minute. They're pretty good. They make the odd mistake because it is actually a person doing it.
Yeah,
but it's it's just a bit of a no-brainer, really. Create content, get captions.
Cool. Okay. So I mean, obviously nowadays as well, and especially with mobile phones, a lot of people are looking at content creation in a video format. So when you're coaching your clients around that, I think there's kind of 2 things that people, in my experience anyway, have a stumbling block with. Number one is like, what do I do a video about? And then the second thing is, I really don't like watching or hearing myself on videos. So how do you address that with your clients?
Yeah, no one does. I don't. I hate editing my videos, but it's just something to get over it. I mean, typically we are our own worst critic anyway. You know, my partner says my videos are great, and I'm a bit like, but then stuff she produces, I said that's great, and she's like, yeah. So we're all the same. You know, no one really likes it, but you know, you've got to get the stuff out there. And as for, you know, the actual content creation itself, again, there's a great book by Marcus Sheridan called They Ask You Answer. And I saw Marcus speaking a few months ago. So if ever you get the chance to go, I guarantee you go and watch it. He's really good, really entertaining.
Yes.
He talks about, you know, if whatever question you've ever been answered, just answer it. And he even got asked one about around who else would you recommend? Because Marcus Sheridan, they install fiberglass pools in America, and he got asked the question, who else would you recommend to get some quotes off as a pool provider? And he thought, I'm giving you a competition here. Anyway, they actually went with one of the competitors that he sort of recommended. He thought, well, I've been asked. He said, so I've got to answer this question. And he did a blog on the top 5 pool installers in New England.
Yeah.
And he's worked out, he's earned $250,000 off that one blog. Because obviously people Google the company names, whoever they recommend it, they Google their name. His blog was right below their website. So people are clicking through, going to his website, his blog. And of course, then they're thinking, well, this guy must be good. And then they're checking him out. And especially with the video content, I can't remember, I think he said it was something like, by the time, because he started creating video content when in the last recession hit, because obviously first thing people start buying is pools, bit of a luxury. And he started producing video content. But what he was finding, because he used to track out absolutely everything, I think by the time people contacted him, they'd looked at 70 pages on his website. So they already knew him, and basically he had to turn up and just not screw the sale up, you know, because they already knew everything they needed to know. They pre-qualified themselves. So, you know, that sort of content is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think also, I think particularly in our industry, in a service-based industry as well, obviously really what people are trying to look for, and certainly I would be if I was looking at someone who is going to be doing some sort of aesthetic treatment on me, is some form of expertise, authority, a way that I would be able to connect, I think, with that individual as well. And obviously that's far more powerful through video than it is through text and just a picture on a page. So
yeah, definitely. And like, you know, it's something else I was talking about. You know, the relationship side, people want to see it. I can guarantee you, people go to the home page, the next page they go to is the About You, and they want to see you. And if they can see you in sort of talking or in action, and then all the better. And if you think around the psychology of what's going on right now, you know, for anybody who's watching this in 10 years' time, this is 2020 and COVID, and everyone's locked down. You know, the psychology is you tend to have 2 personality types. So you've got risk tolerant people, which is typically people like me and you, because we're in business, and most business owners are risk tolerant. You've got to be to go into business. And then you've got risk averse. Now, the risk averse people, and I mean the extreme examples is that they'll stay in jobs that they don't enjoy, they'll stay in relationships they don't enjoy, this kind of thing, but they're going to be worried right now. And so what you need to do, especially with your clients, is like give them a walkthrough of your clinic and what's going to be happening. So there was a great video EasyJet just brought out, and the messaging and everything was spot on. They were showing people turning up at the airport, you know, putting the masks on, you know, you have to check before you get there for the airport flight, and they showed them like the social distancing, so they were putting their minds at ease. And you've got to be doing the same thing yourself, because some people will be worried, whereas if they can see a video of exactly what's going to happen and what they're going to experience, you know, that will help you loads.
I totally agree. I mean, I think, you know, client communication, especially through video at this point in time, I think is going to be paramount, to just to give people the confidence that you've kind of, you know, and that's all you're trying to do. You're going, look, I've got you sorted. If you come into my clinic, it's safe. We've got you covered. And also that you've got the staff covered as well in terms of, you know, making sure they're protected. So I'll tell you the other thing that I think's been really interesting, Alan, as well, is that, I mean, you and I know, just looking at marketing anyway, and different aspects and routes to marketing, is the, you know, the influencers and the vloggers that actually clinics have been trying to influence and get, you know, to harness, if you see what I mean, to promote their brand and or treatments. And what's been really interesting since the lockdown is that some of those have actually become the professional vloggers themselves in a way that I don't think ever would have done before, because in principle it would have been the time to do it, which is something they got the time, And also B, I think just the confidence, I guess. And it's been really interesting to see how some people have really emerged to the fore with that and really embraced this. And almost then pulled together, had a massive change in terms of their social media following, but not only that, in terms of selling things like skincare, etc., to people all around the country in a way that they would only have done in their own particular locality, with people coming to the clinic. So I don't know whether any of your members or people that you've been working with have kind of really embraced that or not.
Yeah, well, you know, again, I've continued working with people, obviously, because everyone's furloughed. But I've continued working with the business owners to sort of create content, create connection, because people are looking for connection still. You know, psychologically, we need to connect with people, even if it's only just by video and that kind of thing. One of the what I did recommend people to do was to, I don't know if you ever come across BombBomb videos.
Yes.
But it's a great way. I mean, I recommend. I said, like, I think I had this in one of the magazines as well. I said, you know, get on a BombBomb, send these video emails, individual video emails to your top 50 clients. And the clinics that have done it, they've had some fantastic feedback. You know, people were really surprised about, you know, getting that personal, you know, reassurance from the clinic and that kind of thing. And that thing, you know, people forget what you say, but they remember how you make them feel.
100% agree with it. And I think, you know, if you look, and I've having run an aesthetic clinic for 15 years myself as well, I know the value of some of those top clients. It's multiple thousands of pounds, and it'd be stupid not to engage with those people in that human one-on-one way, wouldn't it, really? While you can't do it on a personal fashion. I like BombBomb as well, because they can send a video back as well, can't they? So you can have that. It doesn't have to be a live interaction, but you can have almost that kind of video email type of discussion as well, which is you know, great. The other thing that I have seen some people do as well, and again, this is partly around content creation as well, is that, you know, I'm sure that you try and foster this as well as we do with our members, is around, you know, testimonials. And for a lot of clinics really kind of struggle with that. I know to systemize the process and get a lot of testimonials. And if it is done, it tends to be more in a written format. But I think now, again, is the perfect opportunity to use, especially something like Zoom, where, again, you could maybe interview a few of your top clients. Because, again, I think people are now much more comfortable than they ever were with looking at this type of medium compared to even just a couple of months ago. And just look at, you know, some of your top clients who are happy to talk about their journey and their experience with you, and do a little like this, a one-on-one interview, record it. You've got some unbelievably powerful content then, haven't you, for your website and social media?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you go back to sort of Cialdini's, the 6 principles, there's 3 areas. So the first area is relationship, which is reciprocity and liking. Second area, so if the person's not answering your phone calls because there's no relationship, if they're engaging with you, but they're not a little bit unsure, if they're a bit unsure about it, that's uncertainty, and you fix that through authority and consensus, which is testimonials. And I think a lot of the thing is people sometimes assume people won't do it, you know, and they ask in an unconfident way. Whereas if you just make sure that you ask and we can get into the process of it, you know, you can as well. You can ask. You know, someone might give you a case study. You know, the big ask might be, you know, could I do a short interview with you? Yeah. Think, oh well, no. Then you say, oh, okay. Well, could you just give us a Google review then? You know, and because when someone says no to you, there's a moment of power. As long as you ask in that moment, you don't retreat. If you ask in that moment, they feel compelled to say yes, because as human beings, we don't like saying no. You know, we want people to like us. So, you know, if they've said no to you once already, then you make a smaller request, they're a lot more likely to say yes. So it's just getting into the habit and having these scripts for the team to work to that really makes a huge difference.
That's a great tip, actually, around that. And I think partly there is then an element of training around that, especially if you've got a bigger team, because obviously it's the individual practitioners that have that personal relationship with the individual person. And if they've got a really good relationship, it is, you know, almost that request for that, how was it for you and what difference did it make to your life, which is really what you're looking at. You're not looking at the emotional aspects of that, aren't you, rather than just, oh, my nose looked a little straighter or something like that. You're looking at what difference that made to their lives. But you're right, I think if you approach it and go for that big thing, but then if they don't go if they're uncomfortable with that, then the written, testimonial on whatever your favorite platform is. I don't know, Google Plus or whatever. I mean, there's so many different platforms out there, aren't there? Do you actually have, this is just an aside anyway, like any centralized portal for review dissemination that you would recommend?
Other than the practitioner itself, I can't think of one. There's once someone's given you, obviously, if you get someone to do it on an online platform, like say Facebook or Google Maps, that kind of thing, you can then take that and use it on your website. Just ask for it. Sure. I always get them to like do that rather than writing. If they write you one, then great. But if you can get them to actually put it physically on one of the platforms, that's a much better route in for you, because then you can use it in different places. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Excellent. So one of the other things that I know we were just discussing before as well was looking at, different platforms apart from just maybe your website and traditional social media channels for content. And obviously YouTube is one big, and it's the second biggest search engine, isn't it, as well? And also the other thing as well that I think is interesting around YouTube is that it's on most smart TVs now as well. And it's quite interesting that a lot of younger people apparently, watch more YouTube than they may be doing all of the hundreds of other channels that are on the TV. And of course, that operates like a search engine where people, type in questions and then come up with optimized content. So do you have any comments around like the use of YouTube and whether or not there's an opportunity there for clinics?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's huge. I mean, because we were talking about, if you're producing video content, then YouTube would just be is an obvious place to put it. There's a few things you can do. Obviously, you want to optimize it, as in the search, the tags and the keywords that you put on there. And if you really want, I mean, it's just about consistency, though. If you can do 2 videos a week for YouTube, don't expect instant results. The results will start happening over 6, 12 months. Also, because I did a course on YouTube, and every platform is different, so you've got to be aware of what each platform wants. So with YouTube, you can start the video, you tell them what they're getting, and then your logo can flash up just for 1 second, and then you give them the content. At the end, you want to put the subscribe button in there and suggest other videos they can go and look at within your YouTube channel. That sort of thing starts to make the difference. And also having an introduction video. You can also put social media links in the header and stuff. And if a good thing to do is, if you look at some of the big YouTube channels, you can sort of reverse engineer a lot of what they're doing. But the main thing around that is just consistency. Obviously, we talked about captions before. I have captions. I just burn them into all of my videos, so people have to see the writing anyway. But because it just saves me time, because I'm putting it across multiple platforms. And you've also, like I said, you've got to consider that people who are hard of hearing or maybe deaf, and they're potential clients too. So these sorts of things are really important in your videos.
Yeah, I think that's a really good tip. I mean, I think if you're going to do this, then you might as well make sure that people can consume that content in every way possible, not just by hearing it, but by reading it as well, which is good. Yeah, I must admit, I was doing a little bit of work on this the other month, and just doing some sort of searches in YouTube as well, and finding that a lot of the results were coming up around the kind of the searches I was looking for relating to our industry were American videos. So I think they're well ahead of the game there compared to here. And so I did one just looking at does laser hair removal work forever? And it was all American content, all of it, the whole first few pages. So I actually did something a little different. Instead of doing a video of me answering this, because I was doing this really more as an experiment, I just put together 4 very simple slides in PowerPoint. And I'm sure you know this as well, Alan, that in doing that, there's a nice little record function in there now as well. So you can record the voice and then just basically export that as a video. So I just put 4 slides in looking at answering that question. Is laser hair removal, does laser hair removal work forever? Looking at permanent hair reduction versus permanent hair removal. Within a week, because I'd optimized it around that title, it had come up in the first 3 searches. So it shows how quickly that can happen.
Yeah, definitely. And there you go. You talk about the American market. If you're looking for content, go and find a really good YouTube channel over there, and swipe and deploy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously produce your own stuff, don't just take their videos.
Yeah, well, that's right. So yeah, I mean, the other thing that we've been doing as well, we launched last month is Consulting Room Content Creation Challenge. So although the Consulting Room has a lot of text content, we don't have a lot of video content. And so what we're really trying to do is to get some really good answers to questions in a video format from people who really understand their subjects. And there's some fantastically experienced practitioners in the UK that are at least as good, if not better, than any people anywhere in the world. So we're kind of trying to harness that. And we thought, especially within lockdown, where they're not busy, it is one of those things that they can do at their home with a phone and literally just answer that. What's the best filler for thin lips, for instance? There's a million questions out there. And then do it on their phone, upload it, and then also got a website and social media as well. So we've got a little kind of competition going around that. The top 10 videos, we are offering 10 free memberships to, and for the top video, we're offering £1,000. We're calling it a freedom voucher. So we're getting close to it now, but I'm sure a lot of people, when they can get out, we want to go away for a few days. So we thought £1,000 was kind of a nice amount of money to go to a nice hotel and just enjoy it. So if anyone wants to enter that, it's consultingroom.com/challenge. And so, yeah, by all means, absolutely. But it has to relate to the individual treatments and procedures, or even product brands as well that are on the site. And if anyone goes to the Consulting Room, they'll see them. There's a lot on there. So is there anything else that you think that people really should be looking at, especially during lockdown, where they've got this next sort of 3 or 4 weeks maybe before we start again around content creation, that you think would be really good for people to do?
I mean, it's about having a plan. I mean, I see a lot of businesses, they're typically, when I go into businesses, they have a business plan. It's about this thick, and like they blow the dust off. They haven't looked at it for ages. You may just chuck it in the bin. You want a plan for your business, and it should be like 1 or 2 pages maximum, but it's a living, breathing document. So do the same for your content. Plan out what you're going to do, break it down into sections. I mean, did we talk about writing a book?
Yes, we did. Yeah, and around sort of maybe recording it and then getting it revved, which I think is a great idea. And as you say, then you've got bits of content for blog posts and social, all sorts of other things as well. So
it's a nice position as well. Again, you're starting to build that relationship. If someone buys the book, or you send somebody a book as a gift, it's just starting to build that relationship. So, with the plan, I definitely think around questions people ask. Write a list, as big as list as you possibly can, and answer people's questions that way.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And so, in general, just outside of the content marketing side of things, what are your thoughts over the next sort of couple of months with clinics, and what's the kind of key advice that you're giving to your customers at the moment about preparing for relaunch?
Yeah, just communicate. Your top clients, I'll be doing it one-on-one, as in one-on-one videos, that kind of thing. Show them that what to expect, what precautions you've taken, and how you're going to protect them. That'll really put a lot of people's minds at ease. It's the psychology behind what's going on. I mean, there is fear out there, but I think it's going to be overcome by people who are fed up of being stuck in the house. And I mean, my missus has cut my hair twice now. She hasn't done a bad job, but I've seen some horrific ones.
It's a little bit easy, it just gets buzzed.
So it's going to be, but I think that there is going to be quite a big bounce back. Certainly my clients I've been supporting, the one I was talking to the other day, and they've got like 150 clients on a waiting list ready to come back, so we'll just communicate with them and start thinking that the content creation is great for developing leads. You know what I mean? So there's going to be lots and lots of people, and I think what this has caused as well is everybody has gone online. Even people who wouldn't have, like a few months ago, wouldn't have dreamed about it. They're now online and they're asking questions. So if you can answer their questions, then you're going to be sort of quids in.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Alan. I really appreciate your time, and I know you're very busy not just with with what you're doing with your customers and clients as well, but as I said, we're discussing homeschooling as well, which I think has been a challenge for a number of people to get their head around.
That's it's probably taken most of my time up. It's bless him, but it's yes, he's going back on Monday, so it's sort of normalish for me.
Let's hope so. Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Alan. Have a great weekend.
Right, cheers, and you're on. Bye.